Hi and welcome back. In this episode we're talking about a problem that we noticed after a couple of years, and it all revolves around media. Now previously we talked about internet access. We know the way of the world these days is to stream, but that requires good bandwidth and pretty good bandwidth at that as well. If you can imagine this scenario, you're on a campsite, internet access is okay, but it certainly isn't good enough to be able to stream anything. So what do you do to be able to watch a film? Well, typically you'd have a DVD player plugged into one of the HDMI ports on the back of your TV and watch a film that you brought with you, or just watch on normal terrestrial TV. But maybe that's not good enough and you actually want to watch an old film, have a family night in, so to speak. So I thought there has to be a way to be able to copy a film that's on a DVD, somehow get it onto an MP4 that I can plug into a USB port on the back of TVs. Nearly all TVs have got USB ports. For example, let me show you this one. So this is our really old, don't know who makes them type of TV, and the reason why it's got a stand on, I sometimes sit in the awning, but it's got a built-in DVD player slot. Happy days. It also runs on 12 volt. It has a couple of HDMI ports but no USB. Ah, yes, there is one just there, and I found that you can use that and stick whatever you want as in a film, stick it on a thumb drive and be able to watch it. Now I thought, well, what if we can use something bigger? Okay, now let me stop you right there. Now the subject we're about to enter into is at the best of times a really dodgy subject. So for this I'm going to put my glasses on. What I'm going to do is also start the screen recording on my Mac. Sorry, the subject here is ripping DVDs. What you can see is that we're looking from a US point of view, we're looking from an EU point of view, and we're looking from a UK point of view. We're also looking at a ruling from 2014 when a UK law came into place, and then a rebuttal of that a year later. In the US, DVD ripping is almost always illegal. And then it goes on to go through what the differences are and not. It does say one of the most common ways people break the law without realizing it is ripping copies of popular movies for friends, because you're not allowed to do that. Now, when is DVD ripping legal? When a person creates his or her own DVDs that are not of copyrighted work, ripping is completely legal. Now the other section there is DVD ripping of copyrighted work is considered illegal in the United States, but several organizations continue to make it legal for purchases of copyrighted DVD to rip copies for their own personal use. Now switching over to another publication, this one is copyrightuser.org. So what we're talking about on this one is an EMEA or an EU and stroke UK guidance with regard private copying and the exemption that they've created for that purpose. What we'll do is we'll have a look at the private copying section of it. It says, according to the copywriting laws, and this is why people do this in the first place, creators have several exclusive rights they can exercise to restrict others from using their work. Right? Makes complete sense. The private copying exemption allows consumers to copy works protected by copyright from one device to another without infringing copyright, and then it goes on to give you an example. However, EU law recognises that the private copying exception may lead to economic harm, and then that goes on to say that you're entitled to give fair compensation charges to people in order to do that. Now, the UK have taken another step. Under UK copyright law, end users may make personal copies for private use and content they lawfully acquired on a permanent basis. This means that it is lawful to make copies of materials you have purchased, received as a gift, or downloaded from a legal source. However, it is not permitted to copy content borrowed from a friend, rented, or unlawfully obtained. Also, the copies made under this copyright exemption cannot be used for commercial purposes. Now, and I'll put both the links to both of these in the description below. Now, there's a problem. If you look right at the very top of this, the private copying exemption explained below was first introduced in the UK in 2014, right? However, following a judicial review filed against the UK government in July 2015, the High Court has quashed the regulation introducing this exemption. The government said that it will take time to consider whether and how a new exemption for private copying should be introduced. Should a new, and that's from the government, this is from this.org people, should a new a law solution be adopted, then we will update this page accordingly. This hasn't been updated. It is 2021. This is still current. So what you're about to see anyway is what I have done in 2014, and enjoy. And so your dilemma begins. You've got, what, 2 weeks booked for a summer holiday, and you know you're going to take the DVD player. Which 14 films, bearing in mind the size of these bloody things, so are you going to bring a stack of DVDs? Or, as I've done, converted my DVD into an MP4, and then, let me have a look on here, move the remote control. This is my little hard disk. This one's a 2 terabyte one. I have hundreds of films, documentaries, you name it. So I've got nothing else plugged in by the power lead, and the USB drive at the bottom here, and away we go. Okay, so we have a couple of things to mention first. In this world of trying to get things faster and faster and faster, we don't use those anymore, and we have replaced that for, skin it, this. This is a 2 terabyte solid state disk, no moving parts, and just, I mean, look at the size difference, right? So, you know, things have moved on somewhat as well. Now, the connection method on this one is a USB-C connector on the back of that, but I've got another one here which is USB-C both ends. And this is the little DVD player that I bought from eBay for, I don't know, 30 quid-ish. It's Chinese, doesn't matter. It's just the medium for me to be able to put the DVDs on and then connect via the 2 cables at the back. Which is one for power, one for talking to the computer, both via USB-A cables, to be able to connect me up. So, and then what I do is I use this brick old computer of mine, which is be a Windows 7 on it. It hasn't got much else on there, but it has got the MKV software on it, which will then have 2 USB connections connected to that DVD player, and then I can copy the Blu-rays across to here. Now, as I alluded to before, I have a new hard disk. I've also got a new Mac. Trouble with that is, well, it's not a trouble, it's quite good. It's only got USB-C cable connectors on it, on both sides, right? So yes, it's got 4 of them, but they're all USB-C format. So what I'm using is old tech and new tech, USB-C-A and USB-C for transferring data around between my different laptops. So what I'm going to be doing is converting via the old CD player and the Blu-ray player onto my old laptop to generate the MKV file. Then I'm going to copy that onto my new laptop and change that via Handbrake, another software program, to be able to drop it down onto this little SSD drive, and then I'll change the connector on that for obviously plugging into the back of the TV. So let's do this. Take a copy of this DVD, I mean, who doesn't like one of those, and we'll then plug it into our DVD player, and then what we'll do is we'll connect it to the USB ports. I do need 2 of them because one supplies power, and then copy it using the MKV program on the laptop. And so we're in the process of copying that DVD. One thing to note is if you have a look under source size there, it's 35 gig, right? So I'm expecting a file that size, and it does tell you there how long it's got to go, so it's not that quick a job. And then we'll have to use another program called Handbrake to reduce that down to an MP4 size, and then that will probably be something like about 3.5. So here we go, last 10 seconds. If you just recall, the source size at the top of the screen there is 35, so 35 gig it'll be huge. So it's finished on there, and then up pops that, so it's been copied. Okay, and there's the folder that's created in the file. So as you can see on the right hand side is huge, 35s. Okay, so what I have done now is moved it from the output folder, there it is, as an MKV file. That's the Matroska video file format. And if you have a look at the size of it, 36.66 gigabytes. So what we need to do is we'll just test that. Yeah, as you can see, it's playing fine. So what I'll do is I'll pause it, and then we'll run Handbrake and see what that reduces it down to. Handbrake icon at the bottom here. Oh, there it is. Open it there. Let's find it. And as you can see, it's just going to call it that, and it's going to do it fast 1080p resolution, and it'll output it as an MP4 file. So we'll just get on with it. Now, down the bottom, it tells you how long this thing will take. So what we'll do is we'll just speed this up for you, and we'll come back when it's finished. Okay, and so it has finished. So I've selected the name, so it puts both together, and obviously one's an MKV file, and if you have a look at the size difference, 36 versus 3, so that's quite a difference. So converting it to an MP4 to which the TV will be able to play makes a hell of a difference to the size, therefore the hard disk, and therefore the amount of films that you can do this to and get on the hard disk. And that is film. As you can see, I've got quite a few selections on the screen as it is at the minute. And so yeah, when I watch it, it'll say loading, and then it'll bring in and play it. There you go. Now I'll probably stop it there in case we get copyright stuff. DVDs are good. How do you know what mood you're going to be in, what film you want to watch? The fact that we've got loads of different people with loads of different options saying, no, I don't want to watch that film and all the rest of it. We don't have that issue now because they're all on here. There's still the fighting goes on about which particular film they want to watch, but it's due to choice now. Now obviously if we do go away to somewhere, we still have the DVD player, but I don't bring films with us. We just go and buy one. Now obviously that's a problem if you're in foreign countries trying to find an English version of it, but it can be done. And that's it for this one. I hope you found it useful. Please subscribe, hit the little bell, and see you next time.